What's up, guys? Welcome to another live session. Today is June 26th, 2020. It's a Friday, TGI Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We're back, and in this session, we'll be going over the trades we took in the week, as well as the trades we did. There's quite a few, and then we're gonna do some analysis for next week. First things first is, again, the community Discord. You need to be on there. It's a place to be. If you want to join, it's very simple. The link to sign up is in the description of the video. Go ahead and join. It's free, and you'll be able to do a lot of stuff. Look at our blog, look at reviews, also chat with members. Get a full detail of what we're about, and also stay up to date on our latest announcements. So one announcement I want to kind of put forward is really quickly is that since we're always adding stuff to our service, we're always improving. We'll be changing our pricing structure. We'll be increasing our prices by a bit at the end of the month going into July. So starting July. And so if you're a member or you're looking to be a member, you want to get grandfathered in, now is the time. So more details will come out when we have them, but just a heads up. So if your subscription's renewing or you're gonna be looking to be a member, get in now while you still can at a reduced price, because come July you'll be looking at a different pricing plan. Okay, and so that's pretty much the only announcement for today. That's about it. If there's any questions you have about the getting grandfathered in, please email support@forexlens.com, and we'll be happy to take care of you. So this week, similar to last week, not so much, but pretty similar. A lot of the markets have been just staggering. These past 2 weeks have been definitely weird circumstances, to put it nicely. For example, if you look at this is the trades we took this week, right? In terms of signals, right? Not too many, because a lot of the setups were still pending. Now, if you look at last week, starting last week, you can see last week was even far less, right? You can see it was just 3 trades, and that's about it. The reason why is a lot of the setups that we had pending remained that way, or just went berserk, and they just didn't give us the high probable setups that we're used to. A lot's been going on. I think once the civil unrest started kicking in the U.S., a lot of the markets just lost their footing. Especially with Trump's presidency, his re-election thrown up in the air. A lot of investors don't know if the economy will rebound Q3 or not. So a lot of stuff's going on. A lot of pressure is being put not only on the dollar but also other nations as well. Australia is in an ongoing trade war with China. So is the U.S. And India. China and India are going at it. The European Union is also having its own problems with the U.S. Germany is putting a lot of sanctions on exports to the U.S. because of problems with Airbus. It's a complete mess. It's just a complete mess. And then you have the pandemic. We haven't forgotten about that. So it's terrible. So we'll go over the trades we took and also some of the setups we were still waiting for, and what happened in price action. So we started this week off with a short for Aussie CAD. Actually, we started with a buy for pound Aussie, and we got out with a quick short loss because I saw a better setup for Aussie CAD. So we'll go to that first, and then we'll just go in order. So here it was. During this session, we basically talked about how this pair was just consolidating within this box. We just pull back. You can see since June 2nd going into even now the 25th, price action has been stuck in between these two lines. And so once it came up here, we took a short. We were inches away from our second TP, but we got around 26 pips for the first TP, and the second was around 56. I think we came up to 54, 53 pips. So that was good. So we made back this loss, which is perfect. And then we entered Euro Dollar, which is probably the biggest trade of the week. For me, it was because I didn't move my stop loss immediately in because of the downside potential. But this was a trade we called, and where did the signal go? It's somewhere in the chart. I may not be there anymore. I will just refer to Discord. So you can see here, Euro USD falling target 1.12045. You can see 1.120 down here, and very nice trickle down. What had happened was it was very sneaky at the 2 p.m. closure. So this is when we entered the trade, and then this candle at 5 p.m. wicked all the way to our first TP and then wicked back up. And so usually what we do is once we hit TP1, we get members to move stop loss to entry. I wasn't expecting this quick of a move to TP, so I just let the trade run, for like 5 hours in, and then I checked, and then I saw it was here. At which point I finally moved my stop loss to entry right here, and then the rest, it was history, just kept falling down. So depending on when you got entry to the trade or how well you were managing it, you either got the first 28 pips or the rest of the remainder. I got 28 plus I think 15 here, and then I was out because it started to consolidate here, and I was happy with that. So that was a good trade as well. And then we're going to go over USD CHF. So this was a buy, and this was technically not supposed to be entered. If you look at USD CHF, so this is the trade, and I actually ended up staying in it because the bias was there to go long. So we'll go to 4 hour. So this was the candle that we entered long on, and if you look at FXCM has a bullish hammer, and usually those are the candles we like to enter long on. I entered the trade, but then I checked two of my broker accounts, and they didn't show this candle. So I'm like, okay, no. And so we were in some drawdown, but again, this trade, it's USD CHF. The TP was 15 pips. I mean, the stop loss was only 15 pips, right? Very, very, very tight stop loss. So it was nothing too worrisome. But I knew that more likely than not, this thing would go to the upside. So members got stopped at 15 pips. I actually extended my stops a bit. When you're your own trader, you have the luxury to do that. You don't have to answer to anyone when you adjust TPs, adjust SL, manage trades the way you want to. And this price surged all the way to our first take profit. Our first take profit was here. It went to 0.95077, right? So I did get that quick gain, right? But from now on, I'll make sure to correlate the candle and make sure it's the same on my broker's end before I call it the signal. And then we had Euro Aussie, which is another nice neat little trade. So this one had a quick 70 pip drop. You can see it right here. All right, nice entry, very little drawdown, quick drop. And at this point, I told members that, hey, if you haven't secured around 50% of your profit, or at least 50%, you're doing it wrong. So members did that. I put my stuff to stop loss, and then you can see price pulled back around 25 pips from entry, and then dropped further some. And so I was out after TP2. You can see our TP2 was 1.63109. You can see price went all the way to 1.62700. So it went to TP3 technically, but I was at TP2, and so that was a nice trade as well. Again, taking profits and securing them is the most important part. It doesn't matter how much you have floating. When you open up MetaTrader or CTrader, as long as it's not realized profit, it's nothing. It's completely nothing. It's just for show. And so for me, that's the most important part, is to get members to secure something in the markets. Because you have to understand, 95% of traders don't make anything in this market. They don't make jack. So for you to make something at the end of the week is a bonus. If you're doing it consecutively, you're going to get slow compounded growth, which is what Forex is about. If you want quick returns, go into sports betting, go into gambling, at the casino. That is not what trading is about. It's about being consistent, and it's like a paycheck, right? You don't, every paycheck you get, it leads to slow, consistent build of wealth. It doesn't, you don't be flipping, 6K figures every paycheck, where it increases to 1 million at some point. It's a process. You cannot rush the process. So, very neat trade again, similar to the Aussie CAD example. This has been stuck in consolidation for about a good half of June, right? About 50% of June. It's been stuck in between these two levels. And so instead of getting the huge swing trades that we're accustomed to, we were forced to kind of take these intraday setups. Okay, and then we had Aussie dollar buy. Now this wasn't a trade setup I wanted. I mean, it was a trade setup I wanted to call, but there were so many more ahead of it that I wanted to call, but it just wasn't ready. They got ready during London session, which we'll talk about, but we'll look at Aussie dollar. So this was a loss. I like to go over my losses as well. It's a good place to learn. So here we have Aussie dollar. Here we have, just pull it out, you can see the range. Now this is typically a setup we don't like to take because we like to go with the trend and not really against it. But because Friday was approaching and a lot of the setups we discussed were still pending, the markets were just nagging away. I was like, okay, you know what, we can probably take this because the stop loss was only 34 pips. 34 pip stop loss isn't too bad, especially for the upside we had here. But anyways, you can see we have a top range right here, top resistance, a bottom support right here, and then we have a lot of wicks coming in this level where we've had rebounds of various degrees, right? But you can get something out of this trade. So once I saw all these bullish hammers and bearish hammers, you'd see a bullish, bearish, bullish, bullish, bearish, a lot of hammers, which tells you that price is reluctant to go any lower. So I called along, and shortly after that stopped out for 34 pips. So I think if we do the pip count, maybe this week is around 80, 100, maybe pips, depending on what you got into, when you got out. But compared to last week, which was pretty much a break-even week, I'd say it's a pretty good upgrade. Again, the market conditions, and I'm in a group chat with a bunch of other traders, and I think they all have different strategies, right? Elliott wave analysis, indicators. One uses just simply patterns, and they're all profitable. They all had a so-so week. So it's just a common theme. Sometimes the markets are bearish, and sometimes they're just dead. Sometimes they're bullish, sometimes they're dead. So this is what we had. We had a loss, quick 34 pip loss, but when you use risk management, 34 pips is nothing. At the same time, a 30 pip gain is something, right? So that was a week, and then here's the setups, here's the alerts. Now, if I show you the alerts, you'll see that we've honestly made a huge effort to get into these trades. So these are all our alerts that got activated from London session to today. So if you look at pound NZD, which one of our traders actually mentioned, PZ late. So he said RP entered GJ pound NZD during London based on our 4-hour requirement. I'm in profit, but should I hold for weekend? Look like they will melt. Okay, and then his paragraph. Okay, so if you look at this, right? So this was a setup we gave, and we went over again yesterday, and all we needed was a 4-hour bearish closure below this level, right? And you can see at near midnight we had it, and then again at 1 a.m. we had this during London session, this 4-hour inverted hammer, and you can see price, depending on where you got, if you got in here, you're up 65. If you got in here, you're around 30 pips, right? So again, these are setups that I would love to call, but because I'm in Eastern time zone, for me, I need to sleep. I'm working more than 8 hours a day, and so and you add things like exercise, food prep, all that stuff. It's like I need my sleep. So I used to be able to stay up when that's all I was doing, but here's a quick 30 pips, and I do think this will continue to melt. That's why I gave this setup in the first place. If you look at the entry criteria, it's very simple. Pound NZD, 4-hour bearish closure below, 1.93150 required. Here's the chart since yesterday. Here's the after. I mean, I'm giving everyone the tools to succeed. Obviously, if you're not awake during this time, then you're in the same boat as me. But if you're awake, I mean, all you have to do is set an alert on TradingView, look at the candle, enter based on stop loss, and take profit, and you're good to go. So to answer your question, PZ late, I'd watch out just because we do have this kind of liquidity or slash price action area where a lot of price action has happened in the past, in the recent past. So you can see we've had a rally from here, we've had fake out, then a rally again, then we had a fake out and a rally again in and around this level. So I'd be careful. We're about 16 pips away, so it is a Friday. On Fridays I tend to get whatever I can from the market and then get out. So 25, 30, 40 pips, and then I'm out. So that'd be my opinion. You can always re-enter on Monday, because this was a setup we were really looking forward to. So that's my advice. If you're in profit, be happy. I didn't get to enter this trade. So just get your 30 or 60 pips depending on where you got entry from. I would say do a full close, because based on market conditions, there's a lot of gaps happening on the weekend, just because of the time we're in. So I don't like to hold that risk. The other setup was U.S. oil. So yesterday I told members that we may have a potential long, but I called it off. I didn't like this doji candle that was printed, and so I just called it off. But we had an alert here. That's another alert. and then you had GJ. So GJ here we had a short. Again, all we needed was a 4-hour bearish closure below this level, below the level of 132,600. You can see the chart work is right here. Again, 4-hour bearish closure below 132,600. Very simple. Here we had the bearish closure, right? And you can see a wick to the top. There's no wick to the bottom, which is a perfect candle. Then we got another candle with a long wick to the top and the bottom, and then price has went down. So based on that, apologize for that. 50 pips, you're probably up 50 pips, 30 pips, depending on which candle you got entry on. Again, it's a Friday. I'd probably secure them. That's the best thing to do, in my opinion. A lot of weird stuff can happen on Fridays and Sundays, and so I don't trade those days. And to be honest, I think the main trading days are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, going to Friday morning, and then you cut off your trading. So maybe 4 days. Really, you have 3.5 to 4 days to really trade and get in a lot of the movements. But on Monday we'll be looking to get re-entry. I'm pretty sure by Sunday we'll be here. If not, we'll be back up here. If we come back up here, we'll look for another break to go short again. If we're down here, we'll either look for a bounce, but more likely look for a break to go short again. So here's the other setups we're waiting for. For example, NZD dollar. All week we're waiting to short this thing. You can see the daily time frame. This is a complete short, right? This is Friday. We looked very bearish. Look like we're gonna break to go short. We pop back up. We spent all week doing a move up, a move back down, and just relaxing. So today we're relaxing. Yesterday we were relaxing. On Wednesday we did a short down move, but there's nothing substantial here to be made. The overall and best play is a short, which we're still waiting for. Okay, so it was one of those times where the markets are just moving at a snail pace for certain pairs, and then also we had USD CAD. Right, we're looking for short. The USD has had changing metrics this week, but you can see we were looking for shorts when we were here on the 22nd of June because price is pulling back, and obviously a break of support would take us down, but the USD had other plans because of some fundamentals. So before I get into pair recommendations, people on YouTube, I know you're there. I have not ignored you. Just send in your questions, your pair recommendations, trading related help, anything and everything in there, and I'll get to you. We can see today morning the USD had some price index, that was bullish, and then some personal spending, which is down, which obviously makes sense, and the consumer sentiment, which is down by a tad bit. So we can see the dollar had some bearish news, but even then the USD CAD is jumping up. So and then we'll go over just USDZAR. We had a long idea. The price hasn't done much in a few days. Gold. So we are looking for either a breakout to the upside or downside, but nothing yet. So you can see if you look at price action since the 24th. I mean, what is this? Just wicks down here, wicks up here. This is a scalper's dream, not really our dream. And I was really hopeful for gold because we wanted to take 1800 this week. That was our prediction if we get above this level, but we never got there. So what can you do? For me personally, I think this week we could have had 0 losses if we just didn't force trades, but I just felt like because last week was so slow that it was kind of up to me to increase the volume. But when you do that and you start to taking trades that you're iffy about, you kind of take a hit in terms of your accuracy. So moving forward, I'm going to just trade what I see, and if it's only 3 trades but 100% accuracy and 130 pips, that's fine. I'd rather do that than enter 6 trades and then get only 100 pips or 90 pips. So that's the thought process. Again, you have to be adaptive in the markets. They are never the same. They're never the same consistency as they were a few months ago or a few years ago. They're always changing. They were different during the trade war back in 2018, 2019, and they're different now. Be adaptive, otherwise you will get ruined. Okay, perfect. So let me say hi to everyone on YouTube and then get to everyone's pairs, and then we'll see if there's anything good for next week. Obviously, the setups are still pending that I just showed you. You can definitely take by all means next week because the price action hasn't changed much. Hey everyone, awesome. All right. So let me actually get to PZ late since he asked first, and then I'll get to people on YouTube. Then I get to Jonita. Perfect. Good morning, everyone. It's a Friday. Be happy. So silver and gold. So yeah, let's talk about gold since we're already on gold. This is the original plan that we've had, and you can see this week since the 22nd we haven't done much. And the only way I'm going to take a trade is if we clear the previous high right at 1775 and 1800. Remember, our goal for 2020 for gold was 1800, and we said that if you guys look at the price point, which I said that you would be surprised. We said this at we had this session in December. So if you look, we said that over here in December of 2019 when gold was at 1500. I told you guys my end of the year goal, gold target is 1800. From 1500 we went all the way up to here. Okay, and all I did was simple price action. The videos on our YouTube if you want to see that. But again, you can see the weekly candle, you can see the uptrend. There's no reversal here, at least no permanent reversal. But gold is used to these deep retraces, right? And especially if you're trading with small accounts, a retrace like this will seem like hell. It will seem like total hell, and you're like, oh my god, I got stuck in a bad trade. But then you'll have gold come in and reward you with a decent size uptrend, right? A push up. You can see again for gold, back in March, when I was in the trade, I had this retrace when I was holding gold, and I'm like, I didn't know, I know it wasn't a reversal, but this was just a deep retrace for no reason before gold just kicked it up a notch. So this is a pair you have to be very patient with, especially when you have so many fundamental events going on, right? We already have tons of Forex news every single day. Then you add in a pandemic, then you add trade wars, potential World War III, and then civil unrest, in terms of, racial matters across the world. You're in for a terrible, terrible time. Again, we have a pandemic. People aren't spending, people aren't traveling. Safe havens aren't being safe havens. There are safe havens one week, there aren't another. You have to understand, if you're profiting even a little bit in these market conditions, you're a part of the elite group of traders. And so for gold, we're going to have to think like most value investors, think of the long-term approach. And as if we clear 1770, we're going long. However, if we dip down below 1750 or 1748, you will look for shorts. I'll probably rely on the 4-hour or the daily time frame, those closures to get entry. Again, it's hard to go short in a major uptrend, but although it's an uptrend from the weekly time frame, you can see on the 4-hour we do have some intraday shorts in this uptrend, right? Even though it's an uptrend, there's still sell-offs here that are pretty substantial. And so it's our job to get the shorts when they're there, but more likely than not, try to get the long because that's what the trend. So next week, a PZ late, we'll look for 1775 to get cleared, and we'll go up to the upside. Silver, another pair, and actually we'll look at natural gas because we had it set up for that as well. So silver, if you look long term, this is our bias for silver short. Right, 1670. If we break it and we get a 4-hour bearish closure, we're gonna go short. Any of these moves that don't really interest me, especially since if you look to the left, we've had rejections from the zone, and more likely than not, it's about shorts at this point. The 4-hour time frame, you'll see, there's an intraday range here. You can probably draw it like this. But again, it's nothing that's too concrete. For example, we tried to trade an intraday range for Aussie dollar, right? And that trade turned into a 34 pip loss. So whenever you're counter trend trading and going for these intraday setups, you are playing a riskier game rather than waiting for the long-term play, which is the short. That's just my strategy. Thankfully, Forex Lens has 10 signal providers. 10 signal providers. And you have to understand, for example, that's only 75 per month. For 10 signal providers, there'll always be a trade. There'll be always a setup to take. So that's why, when certain strategies aren't finding setups or just are being disciplined, there's other strategies which are finding a lot, right? We do have some scalpers in our arsenal. So silver, again, because I want to make sure people take the best setup, and I value people's money, and I value people's, success in the financial markets, I would rather give them the long-term play, which is a break of 1670. Again, this resistance zone that we've created since September 2019 going into now has not been broken. It's been a resistance, and if you look at all these wicks, you have a lot of wicks that are topside, but no candles are going up there. It tells you a lot of market pressure for silver to go lower. and so we'll see. So what I think could happen is that when gold goes to 1800, silver will push up deep to this resistance again, but I think we'll finally get an initial sharp reaction and rejection like this candle to have a short. So it's a patience game. Again, during these times, you got to think of a value as a value investor rather than as a trader, because if you start going for those small moves, you're gonna get hurt. Next up, GU. So GU is a setup that was supposed to be a just absolute beauty for us this week, but price action was choppy. But you can see the daily. On the daily, we can have more downside. So we discussed this on last Friday's session, where if we get to here and there's still more bearish momentum, we can take this trade all the way down to these lows, which we made during the peak of the pandemic, or at least the first wave. So I'm bearish. Obviously, today's candle, I'm gonna remove this because unfortunately this setup, RP was getting his beauty sleep. But you'll see if you zoom in, you can see today's candle, daily candle, is an inverted hammer. We have a long wick to the top, short at the bottom, very nice. Now, if you look to the left, you can see the next place where price is going to be magnetized to is these wicks. You see these long wicks right here, and I'll just draw it up like this. Right, so we have these long wicks that come from this level and then bounce back up. We had it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Is used as resistance, and then 5 times. So it's a very nice key level, key zone, and that's at 1.22600, right? And so that's roughly 60 pips away, right? 60 pips away. So I doubt we'll get there by Sunday or Monday, but on Monday morning, we can either take the short back down to here, or if we do get here for some weird reason, we can wait for the break of this level like we had in the past and take the short down to this this low we made. Okay, so this is the low we made during the peak of the pandemic back in March. So the downside for a GU is huge, right? So if you look at, let's go on the weekly, you see that we have a long ways to go down. So there's no rush, but we do have to get a good entry because GU is a pound pair and they're very volatile and they're not forgiving at all to any mistakes made. So you have to trade with respect, but you can see overall this is a short. You ask any trader, beginner, advanced, intermediate, this is a short setup, and so that's the first target around 60 pips away. Hopefully the markets just chill out and hang out today and Sunday, so that Monday morning we can get an entry. But I'm looking for bearish sells, Jonita. Let me know if that's what you think. If you see a reversal for buys, let me know. Sometimes I may not see that, and it's great to have another opinion. EJ, perfect, and I think someone on YouTube also asked for EJ. So here's another short we discussed that we have yet to enter, and it's just sometimes I think we're getting trolled. So this was Friday's session. We don't enter trades on Friday, but we showed this potential short setup. This is what we had on Sunday. Markets jumped up, whatever, right? You can see it's still a downtrend, right? We created a significant lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, so etc. It's a downtrend, and you see the next few days of the week we just hanged out, wicked, did a wick to the top, did a wick to the bottom. There's no real trade set up here. So again, my bias is still short. I'm just moving this to the right. We just need to break this previous low, which is at 119.600. Once we break 119.600, we will be going short with the first target at 119.200 and then 118.500. So overall 2.32 R to our setup. All we need is a 4-hour bearish closure below this level and we're good to go. And so, you know, I can't do anything. I think we've analyzed 20 setups in the past 2 weeks, and we got entry to I think 6 or 7. So snoozing. So you can see this is how this week went. I mean, you know, just a bunch of wicks, not really doing anything. No full-bodied candles giving us any sign of momentum. And so the best thing we gotta do is wait for this level to get cleared, and more importantly, read the candle. Again, we want an inverted hammer, one of these beauties, which is fine, or just a candle with no wicks to confirm the momentum. If you enter on a bearish hammer short, it's your fault if you get stopped out because that's the worst candle to enter. It's the least bullish candle there is. So that's that, guys. On 4-hour closure, and here is the setup I'll actually save and send it to you in case you do trade on Sundays. I don't trade on Sundays, and I don't think many, you know, traders do. You know, at least traders that make profits, they tend to take Sunday off. So EJ. Then we have GJ. GJ. I feel like I should be a person that sleeps during the day and wakes up during the night. GJ, really quick recap. We got our 4-hour confirmation here. We got another confirmation here. This candle is turning into a bearish hammer. So obviously now is not a good time to enter if you're not in it already. It's a Friday. But come Sunday / Monday, and on Monday's session, we'll look at this again. You can see our next take profit is down here, a previous swing low / intraday support. Now, I do think we will be here by Monday morning. I think Monday London session will push price down here, at which point we'll look for further shorts once we break this level. Again, I'm not going to be looking for a long because it's counter trend. Again, we are in a downtrend for GJ, right? Clear downtrend. So that's what we're looking for is shorts. So GJ shorts, EJ shorts. Again, we're in a lot of uncertainty, and usually during uncertainty, the Japanese yens are the strongest, right? The safe haven. So again, we go back to the peak pandemic numbers, or at least the first wave. You see they're all the way down here, right? Back in March, we went all the way down here. So if you look at this weekly candle, it's a nice inverted hammer, very long to the top, which is great. Next week we should have a further, if you look at next week, so today's Friday, come next Friday we should have a weekly candle that looks something like this. This will be next week's weekly candle. Well, not this. This. Next week's weekly candle should look something like this, as another bearish candle going to the downside. So that's what we have. Again, a lot of the majors, for example, Euro, will dictate where these pairs will go. For example, Euro, you can see the weekly candle for Euro is also pretty bearish as well. And then if we go to the daily, you'll see it's turning bearish as well, right? Because if you look at the 4-hour time frame, you can see the support we've created here at this 1.12 thousand level. Now, I'm going to be waiting for a daily break of this level, not a 4-hour, just because we have had previous 4-hour closures but no real movement. So I'm going to wait for a daily candle closure below 1.12 thousand to take shorts, and I think then we'll have a complete sell-off for Euro as well. So that's what we have so far for the week going into next week, and a lot of the majors will dictate where the minors go. So EU will affect EJ, GU will affect GJ, and if any of the majors consolidating, so will the minors. That's just how it goes sometimes. And yeah, so EU is still in a downtrend despite all this. There was definitely a trend reversal here, and it's looking like we're going to have some downside momentum. Now, if we pull back, you'll see that if we break this key level, right, which is at 1.11500, we have huge downside potential. We have the rest of this to capture, right? So we're about a stone's throw away. We just need to break that next week, and we're in for a good week. Again, we were spoiled by these nice clean moves during the start of the year, when there wasn't the world ending. But since then, other than this rally right here, everything's been choppy. So we'll go over the weekend, do some back testing, figure out if there's any alterations we can make to the strategy to get some of these choppy moves, and just treat them like they're clean moves, if you get what I mean. Alright, so hold on, people on YouTube. So Euro Yen, we just did that. Hey, nice. What's up, man? Institute. Do you only trade the NY session? No. The live session is during the New York session. But a lot of the moves we talk about, and you probably heard me talk about, they play out later in the day. Usually the Australian or London session. If you look at and I did a video on this. It's called The Best Times to Trade Forex. It's on our YouTube channel. If you look at the best times to trade Forex, it's when the most amount of sessions overlap. That's the Australian, London, and New York session. Those sessions overlap, and that's when you have the most volume, and actually you have the most profitability. They did a study, and they found that during that time, traders were the most profitable during the London session. So that's why a lot of the moves tend to happen. So we have a lot of people around the world from Australia, New Zealand, China, South Korea, India, Middle East. They can all watch the live session because a lot of the moves that are talked about play out later, and the session is recorded and posted within an hour. So I don't only trade the New York session. During the day I have my alerts set up. If they get pinged, I take a peek. If the closure is the one we want, I'll call the signal. Otherwise, I'm on the charts from London session, from Japan session to London session, scoping it out. If I'm really tired, then sometimes I don't make it to London session a lot of the time. So usually Japan to Australian is where I'll be looking for any last minute entries before I call it a day. But you can see, if you become a member, you'll see a lot of the setups are pretty relaxed during the New York session. The New York session, trading session, is pretty overrated, other than the morning, because a lot of news happens in the morning. But after 12 p.m., once lunch hits on Wall Street, it's just quiet. It's very quiet until the 5 p.m. closure, where spreads go crazy. Then things simmer down, and then Japan kicks in, and then things start picking up again. So that London session, if you live in London or Australia or anywhere in the EU, you have been blessed, and you don't even know it. Even California on the West Coast, you're blessed as well. So that's when I trade. But back then I used to be all over. I used to sleep during the day. Aussie dollar. Yeah, so let's talk about Aussie. I'm glad you mentioned it. This is another pair we were waiting for, and we wanted a short, but we had to take the long because there was no, we were waiting for the support to break for the longest time. They didn't do it. You can see all these wicks, no closure. I'm like, okay, you know what? The support might finally hold up, and we might shoot up, especially since the dollar had some terrible fundamentals this week. So if you look at yesterday's fundamentals, the unemployment claims has always been worse than the forecast. So this is bearish for the dollar, and so I'm like, okay, this might be pretty bad. But then we had USD core durable goods come out better than expected. So it was mixed events, and so it's kind of hard to gauge where the dollar was going to go. But I'm just happy this week was ended in profit. We don't really have break-even weeks. I think last week was our second time we've had that, and so it's very rare for us to end the week at neutral. And despite that, we're in good shape for the week. So I'm just happy this 34 pip loss was only 34 pips, and it just gives me more confirmation that from moving forward, I'm not going to be kind of pressured to call trades that I feel iffy about. I'm just going to call the best of the best. And excluding these past 2 weeks, the last 5 or so weeks, we've been averaging, I think, 90% accuracy. So Aussie dollar, I'm still thinking short. That was the original bias to start the week. Exclude this intraday trade, it should have never been taken. But I am human, despite trading for years now. You can see the price is jumping all the way down here, backing back up. A lot of these wicks, this level is very key for some reason. So our main entry criteria was any bearish candle closures below here will take us down, right? And this is just a first target. We're looking to go all the way down here, where the levels were during the peak of the pandemic. So look at the daily, you'll see the daily is still bearish, and nothing has changed. And if you exclude the initial rally against the dollar, you'll see that we have shifted into a downtrend. So just be careful. During this time, there's a lot of factors at play, and you can't really direct it to one. But shorts is still my favorite thing to do for Aussie right now. I told you guys the only time we're longing is if we clear 1.70 thousand. If we clear 0.70 thousand. If we clear 0.70 thousand, then I'm ready to talk longs all day. But until we do that, keep it simple. Go with the trend. All right. Any other pair recommendations? Let me know. Approaching the 50-minute mark. So Graham says, okay, because the signals at the moment are mainly you're getting are mainly NY session. I want more of a variety to add to the signals. Also, almost signals I'm getting are USD, which leads to correlation. So Graham, I'm not sure if you're with us, but if you are, there are providers, including me, that send trades outside of the NY session. And I think I trade more. I think I trade 50% minors and 50% USD majors. That includes oil and gold, but I think a variety is nice because the dollar, the majors are cute and all. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes when the dollar is in, you know, the spotlight, like right now, it's always in the spotlight. But when it's in the spotlight like this, it's moves that don't have to be aren't always the cleanest. For example, if you look at euro dollar, right? So let's take a pair like euro dollar. So if you take this move for example, this is a very clean move, right? Push up to the upside, right off support. But you can see since we come to this resistance, right, look to the left, you see previous resistance here. We had a rejection, right? We had a short trade or two, which is fine, but see how choppy the price actually is. There's no separation, right? Here you had a lot of separation, here you had a lot of separation, and then you have moments of just intraday consolidation, and then here's choppiness. Now, if you compare a pair like that to, let's say, a pair like Euro NZD, right? Euro NZD, you can see usually it's trending, right? So, for example, it's either trending up or it's trending down, right? It will have consolidation for sure, but then after that consolidation, it'll have a nice trend resume, right? So you can see here it's consolidating. That's why we're waiting for the break of the consolidation to go short again. We can see like a lot of the miners can give you nice clean moves. That's a clean move down, clean move up, and then you have some clean moves from double tops, triple tops, another clean move down here. If you had a head and shoulders, like so. The majors are overrated. They have their place, but definitely when there's a lot of news and stuff going around the world, the minors are nice to mix in as well. It's all based on what setup's available. So if there's a setup available for Euro, I'll take it. If there's a setup available for Euro CAD, I'll take it. So just being adaptive again, and just being adaptive. A lot of Wall Street guys are losing their job because of these market conditions. But if you got the traits, if you got the talent, you can get by. For people on the U.S. stock market, for example, in 3 months, I'm up 44% just from value investing in stocks, right? And I'm doing some basic technical analysis, some fundamental analysis, and 44%. It's actually 47 as of today, but so if you do your homework and you value invest, because right now is the time to value invest. Even as a Forex trader, you should be good. Even crypto, I think people should trade crypto in terms of value investing, because even crypto, even Bitcoin is consolidating. Everyone was talking about the halvening and oh my God, Bitcoin's ready to jump, etc., etc. But if I show you, Bitcoin, what has it done? I mean, in the past few months, what has it really done? Look at this, right? So if you count this month, if you count this month, if you count this month, since the start of the year, right, 2020, when people are like, Bitcoin's going to shoot up to 20K, 15K, 100K, what has it really done? It stayed below 10,500 and has done nothing, right? And the halvening already happened in May. If you look at the daily, actually, let's go to the weekly. If you look at the weekly candle, you can see we spent many, many weeks on this trend line. For what reason? Bitcoin has no reason to go up to the upside. I told you guys, the more we stay under this trend line, the greater the chances are we go back to 8,000. We go back to 8,500. And you can see we're printing this inverted hammer this week. I wouldn't be surprised next week if Bitcoin's back at 8,500, right? 8,500 is my target. But again, you have to value invest. So if Bitcoin's not breaking 10,500, don't buy Bitcoin. It's that simple, right? Short it. That's value investing. You're looking to either play the long-term game or don't play at all. So it's all the markets, and definitely it's been an adjustment for me as well as members in the trading room. But that's the thing about being a trader, is being adaptive, right? It's the markets. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. It's not. And if you don't have the mental toughness, you don't have the risk management in place, the trader psychology in place, and you're looking to flip accounts, it's not the business for you, right? Slow compounded growth is the best thing in Forex, and that is the only way you'll succeed. So I think that's good with my lecture. Let me check if there's any last minute pair recommendations. If there is, I'll quickly do them. If not, I'll give out the 50% coupon code so people can join. Okay, so Graham said, I get my signals from somewhere else. I'm happy with them, but I just want to find some other signals or add variety. We have a lot of variety. We have 10 providers. You know, when I first started trading, I was in Telegram signal groups, and these things are the worst. They don't have a website, nothing like that, no tracking. We have a beautiful website, 10 providers. We track almost all of them. They're vetted. If you want variety and you actually want to join these live sessions, Graham, every Friday I give out this coupon code. It's called First 50. What this coupon code will get you to do is, you know, our live sessions are Monday through Friday, but our free ones are only on Monday and Friday. So if you're looking to get the ones on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when we enter trades, I call trades live, you know, etc., all you have to do is go to forexlens.com, and then you go to Forex Trading Room, you click Get Started, and you fill out this form. You click Next, and then you'll see a button that says Enter a coupon code. If you enter this one, First 50, you'll get all the live sessions, 10 signal providers, chart work on Discord, so I have separate chart work. You can ask me questions here throughout the day, as well as chart work from various traders, for example, Elliott wave analysis. We have price action. We also have institutional concepts by Pipsology. All this content for $48.50 for your first month if you use this coupon code. So there you have it, Graham. If you're interested, that is First50, and you can get your first month for half price off to test this out. For everyone else, if there's any lasting questions, shoot them on Discord. If you're not in our Discord already, the link to sign up is in the description of this live video. Again, I'm doing the best I can with the cards we've been dealt, and I think we all are. You know, I'm in a group chat with traders, and they're just getting by, but I don't think these conditions will last. I think once economies start reopening up and travel comes back, businesses start coming back, we'll be back to normal conditions. So I'll see you guys on Monday for another live session. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Be solid, be happy, be positive. It's definitely an unprecedented, difficult time, but be there for one another. That's all we have is each other. And that is that. So clear your mind this weekend, have some fun, spend some time with the family, and we'll be back at it, back on the grind on Monday. So peace, and I'll see you guys on Monday.